when they
It
do
does
an
not.
involuntary committal.
This is
It's totally
strictly,
separate.
this is strictly Serenity Hills, the ATCO facility, and just the Human Service Agency itself. It does not cover any.
But I'm not talking about the current mental.
For the client, we have to pay for an attorney for the Board of Mental Illness Board, and that's, you know, all the hearings and everything that take place down there. And I did increase that by $3,000. It just seems like we had a spike there in 2015. It dropped back down in 2016, and just based on what we're spending the last couple of years, I estimated $35,000 for that.
With the, just one comment on that. I think that House Bill 1186 from the last session that dealt with getting some of this done at the county level, allowing us to use county specialists for some of this, that may change how this.
Expenses and very detailed cover letter. This is a site that we paid for a number of years ago, and then when we decided we needed to cut back on our nonprofits, this one was one that was cut. So for 2017, they came back to us and requested $5,000, which was approved, and they've also requested $5,000 for 2018.
Okay.
The next page is the Memorial Day supplies. There is a line in statute that allows counties to budget for Memorial Day supplies. So the American Legion vouchers us for $150, or maybe it's the VFW. One of the two vouchers us for $150 for wreaths for Memorial Day. The next budget is the Boys and Girls Club budget. They've also provided you with a cover letter, balance sheets. The $17,500 is what they are requesting as their annual amount. The $10,000 on there is part of their capital campaign, which they asked the county to, I think the total was $50,000 over 5 years, so that $10,000 is also listed there. So they did increase their annual request by $2,500, and then the $10,000 for the capital campaign.
And just on the juvenile detention, since we were talking about juvenile detention before, the Boys and Girls Club is kind of a key player in the diversion of that.
Exactly, and that's why we have fewer juveniles going to out-of-town facilities. I hope that's what it is, anyway.
Yeah.
Take forward.
We're going to skip over County Park and Ag Building and go to, let's see, it'd be right behind the Ag Building budget, I believe. Yep, right behind Ag Building we have Zoological. And they have requested...
What page is that?
It'd be page 57. Right behind the County Ag Building tab, or behind the Ag Building budget request. This is kind of like watching paint dry.
I'm enjoying it.
Are you? Okay, good.
Except for the people that are requesting this is kind of important. Very important.
It's something we need to review, and it's just good to get these out before we do start with the department heads.
Yep.
So they are requesting $20,000. They requested $15,000, or no, they requested $20,000 in 2017, and they've requested $20,000 in 2018, and they also have provided you with a balance sheet.
This was a budget that had been cut entirely, and we brought it back, I think, it's been
2014.
back in 15 or
14.
14?
Maybe.
Number of years ago, yep.
Yeah.
All right. Behind, following the weed department budget, you'll find two budget requests starts with page 62. The first is waterfowl production, and these are funds we receive from the state of South Dakota, kind of through the federal government, actually. And the amount that we budget is directly offset by grant funds, so this one is a wash too, $14,000. The next budget is for the flood monitoring stations, which we have, I believe are they all north of Watertown?
Yep. In my backyard.
Okay, and they have requested approximately $12,000, and that's why I just rounded it up to $12,000.
And that's shared with the city also.
Correct, yep. We're going to skip the planning board budget. Luke may want to speak with you on that one. Following the planning board budget is the tourism, the Glacial Lakes and Prairies Association, and they are once again requesting $750, which they do annually. They also provided you with a balance sheet, and they would be willing to come and talk to you at any time.
I'm on that board.
Are you on? Okay.
Yeah.
Following that one is the economic development, which is also known as Focus Watertown. They provided you with a cover letter, and they are requesting $35,000.
Elmer used to, and he probably still does sit on that board, and he was a good promoter of it, and it does do well for the city and the county.
All right.
Greg Atkins is the director.
Correct. Let's see. Let's go to the E911 budget, which is directly behind, yep, that one does have a tab. This budget I prepare, and it's just based on what revenue we can expect to collect. So this is another one that is completely offset by revenue. I put the budget higher than I anticipate getting revenue so that we don't have to do a supplement to that partway through the year. So this one, if we don't receive the money, we don't spend it. That's pretty self-funding. We're going to skip emergency management. Right behind emergency management is the crime victim budget, and this budget is solely based on the one-person salary for that office that is supervised by the state's attorney. That's page 84.
This was one of the items that luckily our commissioners that have come before us have had this in the budget for a number of years. And through legislation last year, one of the...
Marcy's law.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, one of the new laws required a lot of counties to have this available, and they had to all of a sudden come up with this position, and it was kind of hurtful for them, I think, budget-wise. And here we sat, we were ready for it. So that was kudos to our forefathers having this done.
Yep, so this budget is based entirely on Jan Steele's salary, and then she does budget a little bit for travel and other. So that budget increase is less than $2,000 for 2018. The next one is the Domestic Abuse Women's Resource, and that is based entirely on the fees that are collected, divorce fees, there are marriage license fees, anything that we collect. This board has allotted those funds to go to the Beacon Center here in Cottington County.
This is an additional to the dollars that we budget for them.
Right. They have requested. I also requested a budget amount from the general fund. This is a fund entirely of itself where these fees go into, and we don't spend it if we don't have it. The next budget is WIC. This is another budget that is based solely on one clerical staff position, and we do receive some reimbursement from the state of South Dakota on this one. We used to receive full reimbursement, and then the state cut back a number of years ago, so the county does do a transfer from the general fund to subsidize this budget. And once I have the revenue budget prepared, you'll see what we need to transfer from general fund to cover this fund. The following budget is the courthouse building. Quite a few years ago, we were able to levy some money into the building fund that we didn't need in the general fund, and we've spent that money down. We've used it for several large projects. There's just a little bit of money left in there, $1,300, so if we have some small project or something, we could probably close that fund out.
Could we bump that to 20 million?
No, because you have to have a levy to support it.
Nice try,
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, right.
I was just thinking outside the box
Myron
here a
Johnson.
little bit.
Thank you for
J.O.
asking.
Thank you for asking.
The 24/7 budget is based entirely on funds we receive through people who are going through the 24/7 process. I believe the chief correctional officer gave you an explanation sheet behind that budget request for you to look at.
Where's that one? I'm sorry. I missed it.
It was right behind the courthouse building. It's page 92. It's one of
Okay, well, that's-
one of the
okay,
very
I see.
last ones.
Yeah.
Yep. And then behind that budget is the Register of Deeds, the modernization and preservation relief. The legislature a few years ago allowed counties to start keeping a portion of fees that we collect to put into a separate fund to allow Register of Deeds to modernize their offices, to preserve those big old records. Yeah.
So this is all pretty much from fees?
It is. It is all from fees. None of this comes from the general fund at all. This is solely self-supported on fees that come from
It's all,
Register of Deeds across the state.
yeah, there's a certain dollar amount sent into the state, and then the state divides it up accordingly to the
Correct.
sizes of the counties, and,
Yep.
Right.
but it's a fee that's assessed on.
And
documents.
Ann can use this for computers for her office or new software for her recording data. So this was another hard-fought victory for the counties. And then the final budget, Jim Sutton will probably go over with you. That is the search and rescue budget, and they annually budget $50,000. This budget is funded completely on search and rescue fundraisers. So there are no general fund monies that go into this one.
They have
So
one.
this is not a general fund budget?
Nope,
item?
it is not. It is not. No general fund monies come from to support.
So would
That's
this
in
include,
August when they have their.
would this include like the work, they do pay workman's comp?
Workman's comp is paid out of the emergency management budget.
Okay.
Jim budgets for that for search and rescue. And I think maybe for vehicle insurance, Jim also budgets in his budget for that, for search and rescue, so.
But we do, the secretary for Jim is in our,
The secretary for Jim is in the emergency management budget. Yep, there are no salaries that come out of search and rescue. Anyway, these books are now at your disposal. You can take them home, and a number of the departments do, when they turn in their budget requests, they do give you an explanation sheet. I recommend it. Some do, some don't. So you can look through and see exactly what a department head may be thinking for 2018. And then right now I am still working on our estimated revenues. Once I have that, I will give you those numbers to put in your book too, to see how we are offsetting our 2018 budget.
for your new commissioners, when we meet next week, there'll be a test on the first 5 budgets.
Sounds good. We'll be ready. Memorize that.
Normally-
Actually, we'd like to do this now, so we have time. So you could see, and if you have questions, and you can mail them over and bring your questions to us so we can have them ready to be answered.
The state would like us to have a provisional budget in place by the end of July, and then we do some advertising in August, and then we start.
Mr. Chairman, I did have one question for you. When you said that's the first 5 budgets, is that when the county was formed? Those first 5 years?
Yeah. No, then the week following, you get the other next 5, see? So,
Thank you for that clarification.
yeah. Any other things as far as the budget goes? Any other comments, questions?
Good review.
That's a good review. It's, for those of us that even been here for a while, it's always good to go back over and there was a time, and a lot of these that we're looking at right now, I don't know what year that was, that we just kind of...
2001, 2002, we
just went back to
decided
zero.
the county needed to tighten their belts,
Yeah.
so we cut out a large number of the nonprofits, and then they just kind of gradually come back in over the years.
I was telling Cindy earlier, it's probably a bad week for us to go over these requests after the results of the election yesterday. We all might be a little grumpy, but we got our grumpy cap off now, so we're all right. They're all very, very good requests, and they're badly needed. I have one other, back to the open. I neglected it. I did attend the South Dakota Retirement meeting in Sioux Falls last Thursday, but the changes that are being made are just to make certain that that fund is sustainable and will continue on. So when you get ready to retire, Mr. Van Dusen, there'll be money there. That's important. But
Thank you for that.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, I feel like a veteran now. I've attended 2 meetings, so. Anything else for the cause here?
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion by Hatton to adjourn, the second.
Second.
By Gable. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Have a good week.
Okay, I got this stack for you to sign. What, wait a minute. Yep, this stack.
Oh, thank you.
Did everybody get this letter from Aflac?